Radhe Radhe, Dandava Pranam.
Radhe Radhe.
Welcome to Shri Shri Radha Vinobihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Shri Vrindavan Dham.
Jai.
Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupanu Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Patit Pavan Shri Nityanand Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Shachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinobihari Ju ki jai, Radha Ravana Ju ki jai, Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtana ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhakta Vrind ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. So we will begin with Mangalacharan, page 1 in this book, Shri Gauri Giti Guccha, starting with Vandeham, V-A-N-D-E-H-A-M, Vandeham. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaisnavamshta Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagano Raghunatham Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvekam Samadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagano Lalita Shri Nishakam Vitamshta Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayaniti Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Aunarya Madhurya Gunashta Yuktam Parammarenyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Tvam Shirasam Namami Trigandinam Bhakta Shiromanincha Shri Krishna Padam Jagataika Vritti Chaitanya Leelam Vrita Sarasaram Narayanam Tvam Satatam Prapadye Namah Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavani Pashtatra Deshatarine Namah Vishnupadaya Gauraprishthaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Prajnana Keshava Yuktinamine Adhivarta Charitraya Swashmitanam Chapanine Jiva Dukhe Sadartaya Shri Rama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Niti Namine Shri Varshabhagani Devi Daitaya Kripabhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Daine Brahmave Namaha Madhuryo Jvala Premadhya Shri Rupanuga Bhaktiram Shri Nityaye Dinakaline Rupanuram Virudhavo Siddhanta Dvantaharine Namo Gaura-Kishoraya Sakshat Vairagya-murtaye Vipralambhara Sambodhe Madam Bhujayate Namaha Namo Bhakti-vinodaya Satchidananda-namine Gaura-shakti-swarupaya Rupanugam-malayate Gaura-virbhava-bhumestam Nirdeshta Sajanam-priyam Vaishnava-sarvabhauma Shri Jagannatha-yate Namaha Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa-sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahamadanyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gauratvise Namaha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanto Radha Kanto Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jayatam Surato Pambur Mama Mandam Matirgati Matsarvasvaparam Bojo Radha Madana Mohano Divya-vrindaranya-kalpadrumadam Srimad-ratnagar-simhasanastu Shri Shri Radha Shri Govindadevo Krishnanidhi Sevyamanu-smarami Shri-mantra-sarasarambhi Vanchivat-tattva-stitaha Karsham-me-usmare-dote Gopinath-shri-yesunaha Vrindaye Tulasi-devye Priyaye Keshavasya-cha Krishna-bhakti-prade Devi Satyavatyai Namo Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhakta-rupa-swarupakam Bhakta-avataram Bhaktavyam Namami Bhakta-shaktikam Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta-vrinda Chaitodar-padamarjanam Bhava Mahadavagni-nirvapanam Shreyakairava-chandrika-vitarnam Vidyavadhu-jeevanam Anandam Budivardhanam Pratipadam Purnamrita-swadanam Sarvaatma Saparam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Hare Ram Hare Ram Hare Ram Eva Kevalam Haro Nastyeva 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 Gatiram Yatha Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya.
Page 32. That's AFG.
What does it say in your book for the note?
AFG. Dandava Pranama Vaisnava.
Maybe G. It's a little high for the beginning.
FG.
Page 32. Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya. If you don't have a songbook, did you already say this?
No.
Jiva Pavana Prabhu mercifully posts the bhajan in the comment section on the thread. So go to the most recent comment of Jiva Pavana Prabhu and then you can follow along with the bhajan.
Thank you so much.
Kripa Bindu Diya.
Thank you so much, Jiva Pavana Prabhu.
Dandavad.
Dandavad.
Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koroe Nasi Krina Prekhayo Sakala Shri Gurudev ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Shri Guru ki jai. Kirupe Paibo Seva Mui Duracha, page 45, Kirupe, Paibo Seva. Page 61, Nitai Gunamani Amar, Nitai Gunamani. If you don't have the book, Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts it in the comments section of the thread. So just go to the most recent comment and you can follow along with us. Nitai Gunamani Amar, Nitai Gunamani. 61 in the book. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita What? Sakshi Sutta Gaura Chandra?
Yeah.
We just did that the other day.
We do them all every day.
No, not all of them.
Okay. Jadi Goranga Navito? Or Gorangera Dutipada? Or
Yeah, Gaurangera Dutipada. Page 74. Would you like to read it?
I'm choking. It's okay, leave it.
Gaurangera Dutipada Jara Dhana Sampada, page 74. Gaurangera. Gaurangera. Nitya राधा कुंड तट कुंज कुटीर गोवर्धन पर्वत जमुना तीर Page Radha Kunda Tata 218. Radha Kunda Tata.
There was a request for something that's Bhagavatamrita
Can you do sorry? Can you do so?
Go ahead.
Maybe it's too extreme.
No, go ahead. It's fine. It's page 183, Soy Keva Sunailo Shamanam. It starts SOIKEBA. Soy Keva Sunailo Shamanam. 183. Just do it where it's fine and I'll try my best. Because that was really high too.
For a second, yeah, because that was connected to that. Radhe. Does it come back on?
Yeah.
Okay. Shri Krishna Kanhayalal ki jai. Did we ever manage to find Vande Shri Vrishabhanu Sutapada?
I know not this answer. Oh, this is on Radharaman, I think, which is off.
But is that still going?
That is still live.
That's strange.
It says it's a fuzzy picture.
It'll come back. Please forgive us.
Isha Takarani is saying, woo!
Radhe Radhe Didi. There we go.
We had a complete outage, so it might take a few minutes to get the picture clear again. Sorry. Chaji,
I'm looking for a particular bhajan.
what is the name?
The name is Radha Bhajane Jadi Mati Nahi Bhela, page 110. 110. Radha Bhajane Jadi Mati Nahi Bhela.
Starts with Radha, B-H-A-J-A-N-E, Radha Bhajane.
And if you don't have the songbook, Jiva Pavana Prabhu posts it mercifully in the comment section of the thread. So just scroll down to the most recent comment and you will see it there from Jiva Pavana Prabhu. Radha Bhajane
Oh!
Jadi.
He found Vande, oh that's Vande Vishvambara. No,
Vande Shri Vrishabhanu Suta Pada.
no, it's not the right one. But we're going to do Radha Bhajane Jadi, so. Yeah, we need to find the words to that one.
I can pull it up. Oh Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namah Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshuranmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Namah Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayana Namine Namah Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandava Pranam thousands of times in the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. In the same thousands of Dandava Pranam in the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupanuga Gauriya Guru Varga, and also to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including all of you who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranam. Radhe Radhe.
So before we began speaking about Baladev Purnima and the glories of Lord Balaram, which we kind of focused on for 2 days, we were speaking about the glories of Srila Rupa Goswamipada and his Sri Upadeshamrita. I wanted to continue with Upadeshamrita, but I feel very strongly, it's not just my feeling, it is true, that as we are going beyond Vaikuntha, that the teachings of Rupa Goswami will naturally be manifest. Because actually what Srila Rupa Goswami gave was what Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to give. And through all of the Goswamis, including Sri Sanatan Goswami, his literature, Sri Brihad Bhagavatamrita, our Srila Prabhupada said, is the foundation for all of the other scriptures of the Goswamis. So it means that within this, it also possesses the essence of what Srila Rupa Goswami wanted to give. In fact, all of those who are within our Rupanuga Guru Varga, who are following the mood, the bhav of Sri Rupa Goswami in sadhak rup, means as a devotee, and who are following the internal bhav of Sri Rupa as a maidservant of Radhika, Sri Rupa Manjari, they're also following like that. All of those personalities are capable of awakening that particular kind of love or praying within our hearts for Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And so through their literatures, whether we realize it or not, even just through their association, even if it appears that they might be speaking something which seems to be mundane, like how are you, how is your wife, how are your children, because they are always saturated not only in Brajaras, but in the particular bhav, the particular mood of their service to Sri Sri Radha and Krishna and to Sri Sachinandan Gaurahari. And they are capable of awakening that mood in the hearts of those who have the capacity to awaken that mood. In other words, they won't give us or make us into anything that we are already not inherently. Srila Gurudev said, never and never. So I accept Srila Gurudev's words when he says never and never. Sometimes I hear him say that and I feel, oh, he's repeating something like that, then I should pay close attention. Never and never do they make you something new, but they can awaken something from within you by their association. So anyone who is in Sakyaras can awaken you up to their level. But if your nature is to be in Madhurya Ras, then that Sakyaras Guru will have to send you forward to any Madhurya Ras Guru who can continue to enculture you and to awaken and nourish the particular rasa or bhav that is present within your Atma. So in this case, I want to continue with the study of this beautiful literature. It's not a literature, it is a manifestation of the heart of Sri Sanatan Goswamipada and a manifestation of the heart of the commentator, our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. Full of bhav, full of transcendental mood, and full of ras, full of nectar. So praying at the lotus feet of Sri Sanatan Goswamipada and our Srila Gurudev in the words of Sri Raghunath Das Goswami, Vairag Juga Bhakti Rasam Prayatna Apayanan Mam Anubhipshamandam Kripambudirya Paradukha Dukhi Sanatanaspam Prabhum Ashrayami. Begging in the dust of their lotus feet that may even a particle of their moods, which are present within these pages, manifest within our hearts. Now we will continue going beyond Vaikuntha. So when we were previously speaking about this, we came to page 90 or 91. Srila Gurudev was commenting about what is the cure for the heart disease of lust. And Srimad Bhagavatam tells us, and Bhagavad Gita tells us also, Arjuna asked Krishna that question, what is it in us that makes us do that thing that we know is not good for us, as if against our own will? We cannot help ourselves. It's driving us. Arjuna asked Krishna, what is it? And Krishna said to Arjuna, it is lust only, the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. And so sometimes people think that lust means only sexual lust, but actually it means the desire to enjoy through the medium of my senses, to exploit the environment for my own pleasure. So there's something known as eye candy. I think, the latest iPhone or whatever, they call that eye candy. Or when a guy has a really beautiful young girl on his arm who's like 30 years younger than him and he's walking, and he's got a lot of money. And then they call that eye candy, or the car eye candy. So this is lust of the eyes, always desiring to drink the material nectar of this world through our ears, to hear beautiful sounds, for my enjoyment, to taste so many things. See, right in the beginning, we're coming to Rupa Goswami's first verse, Jifva Vegam, the urge to want to taste things for our enjoyment, this tongue here, which we say in the Prasadam prayer, the tongue of all of the senses is the most voracious and uncontrollable. It's extremely difficult to control the tongue. So this tongue is a very dangerous thing. And not only is it responsible for the vacho, for the speaking of all mundane things, but it's also responsible for the tasting of all material things. So it's quite Gurudev said it has no backbone. It is the most, lobhamoy, greedy, and sudurmati, wicked thing, this tongue. So, enjoying through the medium of our senses, through the sense of touch, wanting to feel and enjoy, through the sense of the tongue and the ears and the nose, wanting to smell so many fragrances, and the eyes, through the sense of the genitals, wanting to enjoy in this world. So this is all within lust, and also the mental stuff. We don't realize it, but it's also the pratishta thing, the power thing. And I'm going to share something that I share periodically, but I was quite young when I heard it. I was on the airplane, and instead of listening to the music or whatever that was there, I was listening to some show. And who was it at the time? Believe it or not, yes, I'm this old. So they were talking about, who was it? Imelda Marcos, who was at that time the queen, or the wife of the president, Ferdinand Marcos of the Philippines. And she was infamous for exploiting and purchasing, using so much money for her own enjoyment. So she had something like 10,000 pairs of shoes. Something crazy like that. Some people are like that. They just have this thing where they need to just buy so many things and accumulate. So there we go. ati ahara. That's on the second verse of Upadeshamrita. Over-consuming. It's not just over-collecting, but it's over-consuming through the medium of all of my senses. So she was over-consuming, but she had said something quite interesting, and I found it to coincide with the version of Shastra. And why am I quoting? Because Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur said that there are different kinds of evidence. One evidence is one's own experience, which is in alignment with Shastra. And so sometimes when we place a practical understanding of this world, because we're all present within this world, then it helps us to understand what Scripture is saying. When you hear that pride is a form of lust, it's a very extreme form of lust, it's like, what? How is that? So she said something quite interesting. She said that the reason that so many people are so obsessed with sexual enjoyment in this world is because they have not tasted power. That blew my mind. Because she had so much power. So much power. And I've also noticed, I used to have one boss. He was so obsessed with his position, his power, and his money that he would be at work from 3 a.m. until midnight. Investing, planning, making this, that. And I was like, what is it? He doesn't have time for anything else in his life. But it was this kanaka, wealth, and this pratishta, power. And he was quite intense, heavy with those who were working under him. So she said that it was this power thing. So this is also mental. You don't necessarily see it, but it is pratishta. This other subtle element, that it's not a gross sense, but Krishna says, what is the material energy made up of? If anyone knows the shlok right off the top of their head, you can post it. You've got 5 seconds before I quote the shlok. From Bhagavad Gita, starts with a B. 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Bhumir apo nalo vayu kham mano budir evacha ahankara itiyam me bhina prakritir ashtada. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. This is considered material, physical kind of elements. Ether starts to become a bit more subtle. But then you have the subtle material energy. Mind, intelligence, and ahankar, false ego, which means I am the doer, I am the enjoyer, I am this body. All of these misconceptions, this is ahankara. Ahamkara, I am the doer. So, in this connection, all of these things, these material desires, they're binding us in this world. So Krishna said it is lust only, which is the all-devouring sinful enemy of this world. So how do we become free from that thing, which is the thing which is holding us in this material world more than anything else? Binding us, trapping us in this samsara, this repetition of repeated birth, disease, old age, and death through millions and millions of species of life, 8,400,000 different species. How do we become free from that? On our own, we cannot extract ourselves from that. It's not possible. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that one. I meant to say the other one, but I forgot. I was thinking of a different shlok when I said that shlok. Please forgive me on that. I was thinking of another one. It was, when I remember, I will remember. But Bhaktivedanta Thakur is saying in the bhajan, Ohe Vaisnava Thakur, there, ekaki amar nahi paibol. On my own, I have no strength. I have no strength. And even Krishna says that his material energy is extremely difficult to overcome. Daivi hyesha gunamayi mama maya duratyaya. My maya is extremely difficult to overcome. Duratyaya. It's his own divine deluding potency. So how do we overcome that? So the recipe is given in Srimad Bhagavatam. I'm trying to remember that other shlok. It will come later. I quote it a lot, but anyhow. Basically, the shlok is saying that the jiva on his own is not able to extract himself from the material energy. So Krishna, out of his causeless mercy, has given Shastra. But then our Vaishnavas, our Guru Varga, our scriptures are telling that the Shastra is non-different from Krishna. So how will you understand it through your own material mind? The only way to understand Shastra, which is not different from Krishna, is to take shelter of that person who has captured Krishna in their heart through their love and devotion. That means Jaha Bhagavatamrita Vaishnavirasthani. At the feet of any Vaishnava, while rendering service to such a Vaishnava, hearing from them about Krishna, then we will be able to understand Shastra. But on our own, we don't have the power to understand or estimate the supreme absolute truth. So we're dependent upon the mercy of Krishna's devotees for such transcendental knowledge to be awakened in our hearts. So there in Sri Guru Charana Padma, it is said, Divya Gyan Hriday Prakashita, that Sri Guru, or the pure devotee, awakens within our heart transcendental knowledge. The Hriday Prakashita, manifests or awakens within our heart, Divya, divine, Gyan, knowledge, divine knowledge. So, Srimad Bhagavatam gives us the recipe for that. That if you have a heart disease of lust, just by going into the forest and meditating on your own, you cannot remove it. Vishwamitra did so. One of the most powerful sages of all time. In fact, he was vying for the position of Rajarshi, the king of all other rishis, more than Maharshi. Vashishta Muni was known as Maharishi, Maharshi Vashisht. And Vishwamitra wanted the position of Rajarshi, the king of all the rishis, even the king of the Maharshis. So Vishwamitra was so powerful, so expert in his austerities. But even though he was doing such intense austerities, simply by hearing the ankle bells of the Apsara from the heavenly planets known as Menaka, his mind was completely bewildered. He gave up everything and went to enjoy with her. Shobhari Rishi also doing austerity here in physical Vrindavan, under the water of Yamuna, a tributary of Yamuna. In that place, just nearby, near Kaliyahrad, in that place, for 60,000 years. And what happened? Still, he was not able to free himself from lust because of aparads from previous lifetimes. But anyhow, opening his eyes, he saw fish in the act of mating. This brought about samskar, previous impressions, which increased lust in his heart. It awakened what was still present because it was not eradicated. And he went to enjoy with the 50 princesses of the nearest king, married all of them and enjoyed for thousands of years. Still, by doing all of these intense austerities, he was not able to become free from the heart disease of lust. So what is the cure for the heart disease of lust? Vikriditam prajavadu viridam cha vishnum shradhanvito nishiniyat atavarnayadya bhaktim param bhagavatim pratilabhya kamam hridrogam ashvapahinotya chirena dhira. The only way to become free from the material lust of the heart is to supplant in its place something else. The higher taste for the transcendental, loving pastimes of Krishna with the gopis. That's the way. By developing a higher taste with the original source of all transcendental love and affection, which is also called kamam. Pratilabhya kamam. It's kamanuga bhakti. But it's different than the lust of this material world. The lust of this material world is for my own pleasure and my own senses. Atmindriya pritivancha taribalekam. For my pleasure, for my senses, or the senses of other nonsense persons of this world. But when it is applied to Krishna for his transcendental pleasure, to satisfy his transcendental senses, then that kam is known as prem, divine love and affection. So with that, there is no flaw. It is pervertedly reflected in this material world as gross, mundane, sensual lust, which we try to satisfy ourselves with. But that is the recipe. To hear Rasa Lila Katha from the lips of the pure devotee who has no lust in their heart, who's completely absorbed and obsessed with serving Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan, to hear from them with faith, with regard, with honor, then that will cure the disease of lust in our heart. Some people will argue that we should not hear these things until we're qualified, until you're free from lust. So our Srila Gurudev, in his commentaries on Venu Gita, in the first, especially the first introduction, and in so many places, he explains, if that is the cure for the heart disease of lust, then how are you supposed to get rid of lust in the first place? Does that make sense? We must hear it from the proper source with the proper mood, Shraddha Anvita, with faith, with regard, with honor, respect. And by the mercy of that person who is free from lust, then what will manifest in our heart? Krishna Surya Sama Maya Andakar. Krishna is like the sun, and Maya is like darkness. Wherever the sun is present, darkness will immediately leave. Wherever real transcendental calm, prem, begins to manifest, automatically the material lust will disappear. So this is the meaning of higher taste. So Srila Gurudev explains again and again that through that process, and our Srila Prabhupada said the same thing. So many devotees would write him, "Dear Srila Prabhupada, how do I get rid of this lust?" He would say, "Read the Rasa Lila sections of my Krishna book. This is the cure for the heart disease of lust." So this is the separation moods, the moods of separation in love and affection for Krishna. By hearing this from the proper source, then these knots of lust which have been present in our hearts since time without beginning will gradually be able to be cut. And then what will manifest in its place? Instead of material lust, it'll be the transcendental lust, which has another name, that is divine love or praying for Krishna. So that's the recipe. So Srila Gurudev is saying there's a very beautiful explanation of this verse in Srimad Bhagavatam commentary by Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur. Some people think that they will first become free from all offenses and anarthas. How does one free themselves from all of these things? You cannot do it on your own. It must be under the guidance of someone who can actually help us to remove them, because they are already free from them. So, some think they will become free from all offenses and anarthas, become pure by their own efforts, and then engage in bhajan. Srila Gurudev says, but that is absurd. I love his straightforwardness. First, concentrate the mind and make the heart pure. Then do bhajan, and then bhakti will come. It will never be like this. It cannot. It will not happen like this. That first you can purify yourself by yourself, and then you can do bhajan. What method will I undertake to purify myself? Even my own chanting is not pure. If I'm not under the guidance of any pure Vaishnava, then how can I become pure on my own? Not possible. It will never be like this. You can try to concentrate the mind for millions of lives, but there is no guarantee that it will remain focused. In this connection, in Secret Truths of the Bhagavatam, chapter 2, there Srila Gurudev is quoting one verse from Srimad Bhagavatam. Dharma swanushtita pangshan vishvakshena katasuya notpadeya jariritim shrama eva hi kevalam. That all of the activities that one performs, if it does not somehow or other bring about an attraction of the heart, rati, for hearing the glories of Krishna's names, forms, qualities, and pastimes from the right source, then it is all considered hard, useless labor. So normally we think of it in terms of everything that I'm doing in this material world, all mundane material things. But Srila Gurudev explained, even your chanting of lakhs and lakhs of Harinam, even your worshipping of thousands of shalagram shilas, if it's not bringing about an attraction for hearing the Hari Katha from the lips of the pure devotees about Krishna, then there's something wrong with your practice. And by that, you can go on for a long time. And many of us have experienced it personally in this lifetime. We can all check our own hearts, our own pulses, and see, how many years have I been chanting Hare Krishna? How many years have I been hearing about Krishna? How many years have I been associating with devotees, and even pure devotees, and reading Shastra and taking Mahaprasad? And how much of a nonsense am I still after all of these years? Really, we can look at ourselves and check. Why? Because I have not developed rati, attraction, real rati for hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, for hearing Hari Katha, for hearing the glories of Krishna from the lips of the pure devotees. So then the question should come into our heart, how can I develop that? Because something is wrong with my practice. Gurudeva would always say there's some hole, some loop or hole in your practice. There's something wrong with your practice. Why you're not feeling that inspiration to move forward. Why you're feeling, after so many years, it's becoming more difficult, less enthusiastic. What happened? What happened? There's some flaw in my practice. So we need to detect what that flaw is, and maybe we cannot detect it on our own. Then we need to approach some high-class, pure Vaishnava who has the capacity to detect, because they can see everything. If they want, they can see, oh, this is your flaw here and here, here. Okay, let me adjust you so that you will begin to develop taste and attraction for hearing this kind of Harikatha. So Srila Gurudev explained it like that. You can chant Harinam for lakhs and lakhs of births, lakhs and lakhs of Harinam. But if it doesn't bring about rati for hearing this glories of Krishna, Vishvakshena Katha Asuya, then it can also be considered a lot of hard work, which is not bringing any result. So how can I engage my time to bring that about? This is something important. When Srila Gurudev first showed us his new temple in Govardhan, it was massive cement structure at the time. There was no beautiful coverings or paintings or relief work. Thakurji was, I don't even know if Thakurji had come yet. And it was just a big cement place, cement floor, no marble, no paint. There was a big, beautiful kirtan led by Krishnadas. Everyone was so excited and happy. Krishnadas sang higher than he ever sang before. The devotees were so happy, and then after the kirtan ended, we all sat around Gurudev so excited and happy. We have a new temple, we have a new temple. And the first words out of Srila Gurudev's mouth, they penetrated my heart very deeply. He said, don't be attached to these walls. One day they will crumble. Even one day, Thakurji will also disappear. You should only be attached to that place where Hari Katha is being spoken by the pure devotee. I was completely mind blown. My God, he has no attachment to anything of this world. And he's telling essential truth in such an eloquent way. So concise. What is that verse in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita? Essential truth spoken concisely is true eloquence. So how to awaken that rati? This should be our mood. How can I awaken that? I don't want all my time to be wasted or that I'm not really progressing. If I'm going to invest my time and energy, I should invest it in such a way that at least it grows, right? If you're going to invest your money in the stock market, invest in stocks that will appreciate in value. Not that will stay flat or will die down, then you will lose your treasure. Invest in a way that it will increase. How can I increase? How can I move forward? How can I increase my thirst for serving Krishna? This should be the question that manifests in our heart. So Gurudev is saying, you can try to concentrate the mind for millions of lives, but there is no guarantee that it will remain focused. Even the senses of great sages, nice, like Vishwamitra and Shobari, became disturbed. So therefore, in millions of lives, it will not be possible to control the mind by one's own endeavor. If we're only chanting or only trying to meditate on our own, without being under guidance and without having some adjustment and correction, we can be engaged in nam aparad. Means disobeying the order of the spiritual master. But the first offense is to blaspheme devotees who have dedicated their lives to the propagation of the holy names of the Lord. So many different aparads are there. I'm not going to tell them all, but you may remember them. So then what will happen as a result of my chanting? Instead of becoming Shuddhanam in my heart, melting and praying for Krishna, I will see the result of my chanting. What will the result be? So much money will start to come to me, and I will start to enjoy that money. This is called kanaka. So much material enjoyment will start to come to me in so many different forms. The satisfaction of my lustful desires. And this will easily manifest before me. This is called kamani. And pratishta. Position, name, fame, power, adoration, control. All of these things will manifest very easily as a result of nam aparad. And I'll be like, what happened? What happened? Because I'm not following the process properly. The process must be under the guidance of a pure devotee. Tishtam brajetat anuragi jananugami. As Srila Goswami says in the 8th verse of Upadeshamrita, there is a process. It's a scientific process. It's not by my own strength. On my own strength, I don't have the capacity to do that. So Bhaktivedanta Thakur is saying, oh Vaisnava Thakur, give me your mercy, give me just one drop of faith. Shraddha bindu diya. What is faith? Faith means that I don't need to worry about any of these other things. Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. Just by taking shelter of the process of bhakti, automatically all other obligations are maintained. I don't need to worry about anything. As Srila Govinda Maharaja would say, nothing to do, Baba, nothing to do. That's faith. That's Shraddha. It's not material faith like we think, oh, I believe. It's the firm conviction that I don't need to worry about anything else. As Krishna says, I will carry what you lack. I will preserve what you have. I will free you from all the results of all of your sinful actions if you surrender unto me alone. Mam ekam sharanam raja aham tvam sarva papebhyo moksha. Krishna is saying all of these things. Sri Guru is saying these things. And Srila Gurudev himself showed by his own example. Look at our Srila Prabhupada. How much money did he have when he went to America? 42 rupees. Was it even changeable at a bank? Who's going to take rupees? He couldn't do anything with that. The things that he could do something with was his bag of puffed rice and his bag of dried chickpeas. He could do that. He can eat a little bit of that. But really, what did he go on? He went on faith. On faith. Krishna bhakti koile sarva karma krita hoy. My Gurudev ordered me to do this. So let me follow the order of my Gurudev who is sent by Krishna. First of all, worship Sri Guru. This is how I am worshipping my Gurudev. I am risking my life to follow his order. And we saw how Krishna took care of everything. How Krishna arranged everything. Krishna becomes the property of the maidservants of Srimati Radhika. And Srila Gurudev established this point that personality whom we are discussing, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, in his most intimate serving mood to Radha and Krishna is just like Sri Rupa, Sanatan, Raghunath, Bhaktivedanta Thakur, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, our Param Gurudev, our Gurudev is also Radha Balya Dasi, a maidservant to Srimati Radhika. Krishna becomes the property of them, and Krishna wants to assist and serve. So we see how everything was maintained from 42 rupees, which he couldn't even change even on the black market in America if there was one. From that, with his ardent desire to serve the lotus feet of his Gurudev, everything manifests. This is the result of pure Shraddha. We can say, Krishna Bhakti Koile Sarva Karma Kritavaya. His name became a household word. What he came to give became known in every nook and cranny of the world, and still to this day it is spreading more and more. So this is nothing ordinary. Paramarthik Shraddha is transcendental faith. It is descending. It is the first particle of praying. And if we surrender to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and try to serve Sri Guru, then we can expect that this will begin to awaken. Especially if we're crying and praying for it. Tumi kripa kori, please give me your mercy. Shraddha bindu diya, give me just one drop of faith. Bindu means drop. One drop of this faith. That simply by serving Krishna, I have nothing else to worry about. Srila Gurudev said, if you sat in one place, under the guidance and order of Guru, of course, but taking shelter of Harinam Prabhu, you will see within 1 week, everything is taken care of. He said, but you won't do it because you have no faith. He used to dare us like this. But it must be done properly, in the proper mood. So now coming back here, even the senses of great sages like Vishwamitra and Sobhari became disturbed. So therefore, in millions of lives, it will not be possible to control the mind by one's own personal endeavor. You will just be kept waiting for millions of lives. It is like thinking that you will wait until the water of a river dries up before you cross it. Whatever condition you are in now, if you are a thief, a dacoit, a hooligan, or if you are pure, start performing Krishna bhajan and chanting the holy name. And automatically, bhakti will take care of the rest. So here we have an order from Gurudev. So we can look at it. Okay. Start performing Krishna bhajan and chanting the holy name. What is Krishna bhajan? It means all of the practices of bhakti. Shravanam, Kirtanam, Vishnu Smaranam, Pada Sevanam, Archanam, Vandanam, Dasyam, Sakyam Atmani Vedanam, Sadhu Sangha Nam, Kirtan, Bhagavat, Shravan, Maturava, Srimurti, Shradhaya Sevan, and the 64 processes of bhakti. Well, those ones which are directed by Sri Guru, which will assist us in the attainment of our particular goal. Not all of them are favorable for everyone. Some are mentioned there by Rupa Goswami, but they're not favorable for those who are aspiring for ekantik, one-pointed mood to be like a Brajavasi, serving Radha and Krishna in Vrindavan. Which one especially is not favorable for that? Varga Dhyan. Raghunath Das Goswami speaks about this. And we also know about that one Brahmin who was doing bhajan in Vrindavan, living at Radhakund. Then he went on pilgrimage to Dwarka. Going to Dwarka, there he was branded. You know that brand that they do? Shh. You are a resident of Dwarka. You belong here. He came back to Vrindavan, but after that he could not receive any spurti. He could not feel any inspiration in his bhajan. He was neglected because of that by the real and true Brajavasis, that means Srimati Radhika and her associates. So until after he left that mortal form, then he was able to come back another way with humility and avoid that. So that becomes a stunt. It stunts one's progress in developing Braja Prem. Other things, Nyas, Prapati, Pranayam, all of these other things, means all of the mudras and everything, all of those things which are specifically focused toward Aishvarya Gyan, knowledge of the Aishvarya aspect, really focusing on the awesomeness of God. So certain things are not favorable for the development of Brajabhav. Gradually, under the guidance of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas, especially a real Shuddha Brajavasi, then we will be able to wean away those things which are no longer favorable and accept exclusivity, pure exclusivity, those things which are favorable. So Srila Gurudev is saying that you won't be able to control your mind by your own endeavor. You will be kept waiting for millions of lives. It's like thinking that you will wait until the water of a river dries up before you will cross it. Whatever you are, whatever condition you're in now, start taking shelter of the holy names and practicing Krishna bhajan. Means what prescription our Gurudev has given us, we should practice that. Without second guessing him every time. So many times we hear that Gurudev gave instructions at the time of initiation. You should do this, you should do that, do this, think like this, meditate like this, chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. And what do we say in response? Oh, I'm not qualified to remember the pastimes of Krishna, so I'm not going to think about the pastimes of Krishna. I'm just going to chant and listen to it. And then what's going through my mind? All kinds of material desires are going through my mind, through my heart. I'm not remembering Krishna, I'm remembering my own pastimes. Then what is the result of my chanting? Krishna says, whatever you put your faith in, I make that strong. I direct the wanderings of the living entities according to your desires. I'm like, okay, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. Whoa, my phone's not working very well. I need a new phone. Should I get the Samsung or the Apple? Oh, different desires start coming. Ram, Ram, Hare, Hare. Oh, wow, yeah, that girl I saw. Oh, this one, that one. Oh, beautiful jewelry for my wife. So many things start coming up because we're not following the instruction of Gurudev. No, I won't follow what he says because it's too high for me. So then we inevitably start meditating on our own pastimes or the faults or the pastimes of other persons of this world or our own material desires, anarthas, and the result of our chanting will be the increase of our anarthas. So when Gurudev gives a prescription, chant and remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna, then we should endeavor to follow the instruction of Gurudev. So when he's saying here, chant and do Krishna bhajan, then Shravanam, hear Harikatha, Kirtanam. Always repeat, chant the glories of Krishna, what we have heard from Gurudev, and Smaranam, remember the sweet pastimes of Krishna. Then our chanting will start to become potent, because this is the mercy of Gurudev. And okay, so now here Gurudev is saying something. In this world, there is no greater misconduct than... Sorry, let me just answer this question and then I will continue here. Is it better not to chant then or try? So actually we spoke about this the other day on Rupa Goswami's day. It's always better to chant and to try. Our Gurudev said to try is bhakti. That's why I'm saying there's a prescription. If we're just chanting but not trying to eliminate our anarthas and trying to develop love for Krishna, then we're actually not chanting properly. Still, we should always chant, but we should try to come in process. We should try to come in the line. What Sri Guru is giving, what the Vaishnavas are giving, what prescription they are giving. Because Krishna and his name is not different. And Krishna will reciprocate with us according to the way we approach him. So if we're only chanting without following the prescription of Guru and Vaishnava, what will the prescription of Guru and Vaishnava do? They will take us from our self-serving tendency and turn that toward serving the transcendental senses of Krishna. So if we're chanting with that desire that I want to love you and I want to serve you, please engage me in your devotional service. My dear Lord, from this day I am yours. Then that chanting will propel us forward on the path of bhakti and devotion. And instead of we're just chanting but not making any positive endeavor, it may be that chanting will also just increase our kanaka, kamani, and pratishtha. Our desire for wealth, our desire for material enjoyment, our desire for name, fame, position, and power. Still, they tell us that we should chant because it still has power. we will see that, oh, my material desires are being fulfilled. Ooh, this name is powerful. Then we can chant more. Oh, wow, more desires are fulfilled. Wait a second. That's what Dhruva Maharaj did. He was chanting Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya with what? With the desire for material enjoyment. He was chanting the names of the Lord with the mantra that his guru Narada Muni gave him. And what happened as a result? Within 6 months, Srimad Narayan appeared in front of him. What was Dhruva Maharaj's desire? His desire was to have a kingdom greater than that of his grandfather Brahma. He wasn't satisfied with just beating his own father. He wanted to beat his grandfather. He wanted the most amazing kingdom in the entire universe. That was his desire. And through the power of the mantra, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, by chanting that mantra and praying for the manifestation of the Lord actually appeared in front of him. And because he had that desire, he had to accept the result of his desire. So he received that kingdom known as Dhruvaloka, which we know as the pole star. However, when he saw Narayan, he began regretting. Oh my God, what did I do? I was desiring broken glass and the husks of rice when I have the most valuable treasure in front of me. What was I thinking? What was I doing? Our Gurudev said the same thing about so many who do Govardhan Parikrama. He said, if you ask most of them, 90%, why are you doing this? They have read or heard from Shastra that Govardhan is Sarva Vishwa Pradata. He can fulfill all desires of everyone very easily. So many thousands and millions are doing Govardhan Parikrama for what? For material reasons. I want a beautiful wife. I want a beautiful husband. I want beautiful children. I want health. I want wealth. Let me take Govardhan Shilas and build a 7-story palace from them. Oh, please give me this wealth. Giriraj Maharaj Ki Jai. This is what they're praying. Gurudev said, don't make these things. He said they are building a prison for themselves. Giriraj will grant you this. He said, but still, one should continue doing parikrama. Gradually, they will see their desires are being fulfilled. And this will give them more faith in Giriraj. And then they might pray for more, but this will give more faith in Giriraj. Then they may meet with some sadhu, and that sadhu will tell them, don't desire anything else. Giriraj will be listening. This is what Gurudev used to tell us. He will be listening and following behind you. What do you want? What do you want? He said you should only have one prayer. I only want to be the Padyadasi of Srimati Radhika, nothing else. The maidservant of Srimati Radhika. Giriraj will be listening. What desires are in your heart? Don't desire anything else. Don't ask for anything else. Ask for that highest goal. And when Giriraj grants that, that means everything that is necessary to attain that goal will automatically fall into place. So we may have faith in Giriraj because of Shastra. In the beginning we approach with so many material desires, but gradually Giriraj will purify us of those material desires. In the same way that Krishna says in Srimad Bhagavatam, if any of my devotee, he has some material desire, I will fulfill that material desire in such a way that they will never want it again. This is his mercy. Oh, you will realize, what is this? And we've seen this in one history with Narada Muni. Of course, this was an illustration for others. It was not actually, we can say, Narada Muni is beyond the possibility of falling under illusion unless Krishna himself wants to make a point. So this would be by the influence of Yoga Maya, not Mahamaya. But anyhow, Narada Muni wanted to see Krishna's Mahamaya potency. And Krishna was like, are you sure? And Narada Muni is like, yeah, of course, I can handle it. Krishna's like, really? You want to see? Narada Muni is like, yes. Immediately, Narada Muni saw the most beautiful woman he had ever seen at a well, taking water. When his eyes saw her, immediately his heart flooded with desire that I want to marry her. This was in this katha. We've heard this, it's in Shastra. So then, he approached her, will you marry me? She accepted him. Then he had a big house and so many children and such a big whole thing, a massive samsara developed. And then after some time, he was being rejected. He began to suffer so much. He was kicked out. His children and his grandchildren didn't want him anymore. And then he was suffering so much. And at that time, he was crying and crying. And then he remembered Krishna. Krishna, help me, help me. He was feeling so much suffering. And immediately, that whole illusion was gone. And there he was in front of Krishna again. But it felt like it was years and years. So much enjoyment, so many things going on. I'm not so familiar at this point with all of the details, but you understand the point. So Krishna says, I will fulfill your desires in such a way that you will never want it again. This is the mercy of Krishna. So yes, we must always chant, but we should always also try to be in the association of Vaishnavas, because by the association of Vaishnavas, gradually our self-serving tendencies will be dovetailed into the tendency to serve Krishna. By the association of Guru and Vaishnava, Krishna Seva Vasana, the desire to serve Krishna, is awakened within the heart. As Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Hey Rupe, Brahmand Brahmite Gaon Bhagavana Jeev Guru Krishna Prasade Pai Bhakti Lata Beach. The jiva who's wandering within the material universes since time without beginning. That jiva who is extremely fortunate, Kon Bhagyavan. Who? Bhagyavan. Bhagyavan means fortunate. By the mercy of Krishna, receives in their life the form of Krishna's mercy that is known as Guru Krishna. Guru Krishna Prasade Pai. By the mercy of Guru Krishna. Prasade Pai means by the mercy. Bhakti Lata Bij. Bhakti Lata means the creeper of Bhakti, and Bij means seed. The seed of the creeper of Bhakti is manifested or awakened. And what is that? What awakens the tendency to serve Krishna? This Bhakti Lata Bij also has another terminology. It is known as Krishna Seva Vasanam. Vasana means the tendency. Krishna Seva means to serve Krishna. So by the association of the pure devotees, this inherent tendency, which is now covered by the material energy, by goodness, passion, ignorance, by all of these layers, mind, intelligence, ego, and all of the gross layers as well, subtle body, gross physical body, everything covering it, that's tendency which is already present inside, which is Nitya Krishna Das, the eternal servant of Krishna, which is to serve in a particular relationship with Krishna. This is awakened in the association of pure Vaishnavas, Sri Guru, Sadhu Guru. Then, in that association, as we are chanting, gradually, this bhakti begins to awaken more and more, and by the process of bhakti, prema bhakti jaha hoite, as this bhakti is manifesting more and more in the heart, naturally, avidya vinasha jate, all ignorance, all darkness, all unfavorable things, all anarthas, begin to become removed from the heart, so they become destroyed. So always, 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 nir aparad naam loilo pai premadhan. Always chant the holy name, try to become free from offenses. By this, prem will manifest under the guidance of Guru Vaishnava. Thank you for your question, Vaishnavi. In this world, there is no greater misconduct than adultery. In traditional Vedic culture, that was understood. Up until quite recently in India, that was understood. Nowadays, modern media promotes it as the most normal thing in the world. But from the perspective of the Vaishnavas, from the perspective of Shastra, from the perspective of Guru, in this world, there is no greater misconduct than adultery. What is adultery? Adultery means going outside of the confines of religious impression. of your marriage and cheating on your husband or your wife with another. In this world, there's no greater misconduct than adultery. But if it is in relation to Krishna, then it is not misconduct. So Krishna is above and beyond all rules and regulations. He is the source of everything. He is the source of all Shastra, the source of all rules and regulations, and he is not bound by them. So for him, because he is God, and he is the supreme source of everything, and the supreme enjoyer by his transcendental right, if anyone breaks any material law for the service of Krishna, for his pleasure, on his order and desire, means any even material law like this, adultery, it is not considered wrong. Why? Because Krishna is the husband of all, Parampati. He's the supreme husband of all. Why? Because everything is manifested from him. Everything belongs to him. It's all his. And everything is, in essence, made for his pleasure or his enjoyment. Ananda chinmaya rasa pratibhavitavis tabyatya eva nijarupataya kalabhi goloka eva nivisatya kilapma bhuto. Ananda chinmaya rasa. Srimati Radhika is manifest from him for his purpose. And all of those gopis and every other Shakti, even the Shaktis which are reflected in this material world, everything is ultimately, exclusively for Krishna, for his purpose. So if anything or everything is used in his service, then not only is it not wrong, but it is perfect. That's why he said, Sarva dharman prityaja. Give up all of your ideas of material worldly dharma. Mam ekam sharanam. Surrender unto me exclusively. Aham tang sarva papebhyo moksha. Don't worry, I will free you from all of the apparent sins that will come from surrendering to me. Then he says, Ma shuchaha. You have my word. Do not fear. And just in case you don't believe him, because sometimes he steals butter and lies, and he said he wouldn't fight in the Mahabharata war, but he still took up a chariot wheel and ran after Bhishma Dev. Maybe we can't believe him, but you can believe the devotees. So he told Arjuna, you declare it boldly. Shipram bhavati dharmatma shachvach chantin negachiti konteya pratijanihi name bhaktya pranashiti. You declare it boldly that my devotee will never perish, that he will never fail. Krishna is telling Arjuna to tell it. So we can trust the devotee. The devotee has captured Krishna within the core of their heart, and what they tell, we can trust them. They have come to take us from this material world and bring us to our eternal loving service of Krishna, so we can feel confident under their transcendental care. So Krishna is the husband of all. As Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj said, he was quoting Hegel, God by definition is of himself and for himself. Means everything that manifests from him is for his purpose. That is the nature of Vishai Bhagavan. Everything else, Ar Sababhritya, everything else is the servant of Krishna. And Krishna is the original or only Ishvara. Ekala Ishvara Krishna Ar Sababhritya. Everything else is for serving his purpose. So if everything, including ourselves, our mind, body, words, everything is engaged in his service, even whatever material dharma we think is important, but we turn and engage in his service, then it is all perfect. From the perspective of bhakti, the feelings that the gopis have for Krishna are the highest of all sentiments, both in this world and in the spiritual world. That's why Mahaprabhu says, Ramya kachit upasana vrajavidu vargenya kalpita. The highest form of worship, which is the most satisfying for Krishna, is the form of worship, or the upasana, that the young married girls of Vrindavan, Vrajavadhu, gave to Krishna. They surrendered everything. And what was Krishna's response to them? When they went running in the middle of the night to the forest to serve him? when he played upon his flute. Shriman Rasarasarambhi Vankshivata Tatastitaha Karshan Venusmanar Gopir Gopinata Shriyastuna. Calling all of them, attracting them. Karshan Venu Svanar Gopir. All the gopis went running by the millions to meet with Krishna in the forest in the middle of the night. And finally, after their very lengthy conversation, they defeated him with argument. Krishna told them, Napareham nirabadya samyujam, I have no capacity to repay you for your love. It is the greatest thing that I know and in all of creation. So you should be satisfied with your own love. Let your love be its own payment. So, in this context here, Gurudev is saying that it is the highest in both worlds. In this world, in Bhoma Vrindavan, and also in the transcendental realm, in Aprakat Vrindavan. There's Prakat, manifest Vrindavan, and what we don't see, unmanifest Vrindavan. Some people who hear the 10th canto of Bhagavatam say, hey, this is mundane. They are loving Krishna through hiding and deception. And because of this, they have become so exalted. So this is the mundane consciousness of materialists of this world. They themselves are doing all sorts of nonsense activities, and they try to superimpose their mundane idea onto the Supreme Lord because they have not followed the process. Not understood that Srimad Bhagavatam should first be understood from the first 9 cantos, the absolute awesomeness of Godhead. And then we can see the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. How that same Supreme Lord, what is it? Aho bhagyam, nanda gopa prajokasam, yan mitram paramanandam purna brahma sanatana, the Supreme Absolute Truth Himself, the source of everything, who's the friend of everything, who gives supreme bliss to everyone, and who is supreme bliss Himself, is playing like an ordinary child in Vrindavan. That personality, he has every right. So Srimad Bhagavatam tells us in this connection, because we have ordinary ideas of mundane dharma. What is ordinary ideas of mundane dharma? One should never disobey their guru. One should never disobey their parents. One should never disobey their mother or father. One should never disobey the demigods. So many. One should never disobey their superiors. But what does Bhagavatam say? Guru na sasyat, svajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivam na sasyat, na pachista sasyat, namochayadya samupeta mrityum. All material relationships of this world, if they do not turn us toward Krishna, they will only lead us on the path to death. So who cannot save one from the path of death? They are not fit to be in that position. The Guru of Bali Maharaj, Shukracharya, tried to stop him from serving Vamandev. He rejected the order of his Guru and served Vishnu. And for this, he is glorified in all Shastra. Who rejected the demigods? Sorry, Svajano. I'm going to Guru na sasyat, Svajano na sasyat. Means family members, one's own persons. Vibhishan, the brother of Ravan, rejected the order of Ravan and served Rama instead. And because of this, he is glorified in all Shastra. Pita na sasyaj. Prahlad rejected the order of his father. Hiranyakashipu said, don't serve Vishnu, he's the enemy, you should serve me, I'm the most powerful one in this universe. Prahlad could not stop chanting the holy names of the Lord and preaching about the glories of the Lord. He disobeyed the order of his father. And because of this, why did he disobey? To serve Krishna. And because of this, he is glorified in all Shastras. Janani, mother. Who rejected their mother? Bharat Maharaj rejected his mother Kaikeyi. Because she rejected Ram, she kicked him out into the forest for 14 years. Bharat Maharaj would not look at her or speak to her. And for this he is glorified, because she was against the service of Ram. There's always deeper meanings in everything, but we should see it from this perspective. Janani nasasya, Daivam nasasyan. Who rejected the Devas? The Brajabasis rejected the Devas to serve Krishna's desire and Giriraj Maharaj. And so we have this beautiful pastime of Govardhan Lila. They rejected the service of the Devas. They rejected the service of Indra to serve Krishna. And for this they are glorified in all Shastras. Napatishtrasasyan. Who is rejecting the order of their husbands? The Yagyapatnis, the wives of the Brahmins, and the Gopis. They're rejecting the order of their husbands. They want to serve Krishna, and their husbands are saying, no, you should not serve Krishna. If you go, you're never welcome back. You're not allowed to go. We will never accept you again. Okay, so be it. Let me serve Krishna. And because of this, you see how glorified they are in all Shastra. More than anyone, the Gopis. They've given up everything to serve Krishna. So this is the important point. Any idea of mundane morality or immorality does not apply when it comes to service of Krishna.
Under guidance.
Yes, it should not be a selfish thing. Oh, I will leave my husband and go. If you're not qualified and you do false renunciation without being under the guidance of Sri Guru and the Vaishnavas, then you can get yourself into a big problem. We've seen it 1,000 times. Any man or woman, any husband or wife, they will leave each other and say, I am going to be a pure devotee and I'm going to, go to Vrindavan and do bhajan. And then 2 years later or less than that, you see them with another much younger person and they have a child and you're like, what happened? Well, apparently they weren't under guidance. So bhakti is consisted of being under guidance. It must be under the guidance of any pure devotee. Then it could be considered bhakti. Otherwise, one can go on their own. And then they might make a big mistake. So that would be the wrong kind of renunciation. When one is under the guidance of any pure Vaishnava, when they are following like this, or directly the Lord himself, for us we have to be careful. We must follow under the guidance of a pure Brajrasik, Rupanuga Vaishnava. Then we will be assured of attaining our goal of Krishna Prem under the guidance, in the gun of Lalita Sakhi under the guidance of Sri Rupa, serving Sri Radha and Krishna in the Nikunjas of Vrindavan. So now it's getting late, and I just now saw that there's a question. I'm going to look at it very quickly. Okay, I will address your question next time, Radhika Chandra Devi. Thank you for that, because it's a very important point. What is the, can you distinguish for the aspiring sadhaks the difference between mundane dharma and proper Vaishnava Sadachara? So proper Vaishnava Sadachara means to be under the guidance of Sri Guru and Vaishnavas. That's the basic meaning, but we will go more deeply into it next time. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Rupan Guru Varga ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bo. Going beyond Vaikuntha ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, महामंत्र की जय गौर भक्तवृंद की जय निताय गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर माधवेति गोविंद दामोदर बोलो राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे 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 जय 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 श्री राधे श्री वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय 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 श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे जय जय श्री राधे श्याम गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल. So thank you very much for being with us today, for giving us the inspiration and the encouragement to remember the beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and for engaging us in our Guru Seva. We look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Dandavat pranam. Hare Krishna. Radhe Radhe. Radha Vinu Bihari Ji ki Jai.